So if you sell on eBay for any length of time, there will definitely come a day when someone will ask you to sell something for them. It's a topic I see constantly in Facebook groups and reselling groups. So I was just kind of wondering what people's thoughts on it are. No one can really tell you whether or not it'll work for you in your situation, but there are definite pros and there's definite cons. So I've been kind of thinking about it lately, and I kind of feel like there's three, I guess, pillars of an eBay transaction. And if you break those pillars down, maybe that could help you make a better decision on whether or not consignment could be an option for you. All right, so the first thing that you need to think about is your cost of sales or your cost of goods. In the case of consignment, there's not really an item cost per se, but there are still eBay fees and PayPal fees. And for the sake of argument, we'll just say that that's around 13%, around 10% on eBay final value fees, and about 3% on PayPal fees. You also have your shipping and your supplies, but just for the sake of this discussion, we'll say that those costs are worked into your selling price, so we won't really count those either. So we'll just say 13%. So if someone gives you a $100 item to sell, you're already looking at only $87. Pillar number 2 is the cost of your time. One thing that people don't really think about is that it does take time to list an item on eBay. You have to research the item, you have to clean the item, you have to photograph the item, then you have to list the item. I mean, that includes adding all the item specifics, that includes adding the description, and then you have to store it somewhere, which leads us to pulling and packing, which also takes time, and then you have to ship it, and that might mean going to the post office or arranging for a pickup. And then there's also customer service, which includes answering all the emails that customers might send to you about the item, fielding offers. So you have to kind of decide what this time is worth to you. I mean, when it comes down to it, your time is worth money, and only you can really decide how much money your time is worth. And then pillar number 3, risks and liabilities. Just a few of the things that I could think of. There's returns and chargebacks. And even if you click no returns on eBay, if you use PayPal, you still pretty much offer 6-month returns, or you can still be hit with a chargeback within that 6 months. So when someone asks you to sell an item for them, they might not think that you're still on the hook for 6 months, but realistically you are. So you have to take that into account when you're selling for somebody else. Another thing that you need to think about is feedback. I don't really harp on negative feedback or worry about negative feedback. However, if I was selling an item for someone else and something happened with that transaction to where I got a negative feedback, that might leave a sour taste in my mouth. And then just because an item is sold and shipped off, there still might be questions, there still might be issues that you have to deal with from the customer. I mean, they can still email you even after they receive their item. Maybe they don't understand how something works on it. Maybe something wasn't exactly as described, and like you have to fix that situation. So customer service doesn't necessarily stop once that item leaves your house. And then another important thing that you have to think about is taxes. I mean, income is taxed, and this will be income. It's pretty much off the books for the person that you're selling for. So I mean, you have to take that into account that, maybe you need to deal with some receipts or something. Once they get their splits, then like you would get a receipt and that would be your item cost. I mean, I don't know exactly how you'd want to handle it, but it is something to think about. So those are just a few things that I was thinking about when I saw this question posted again the other day. I have sold consignment in the past. I guess in my opinion, it comes down to who the person is and what your relationship with them is. I mean, I'd be much more likely to sell an item for my mom than I would be to sell an item for my neighbor's niece or something. So I guess my best advice would be, if you're going to go down this road, to make sure the person understands how eBay works. Make sure that they understand that that $100 item does not put $100 in your pocket. If they think a 50-50 split means $50 and $50, that's not how it's going to work. I know a lot of people won't do it for any less than like a 70-30 split, which honestly, if you think about all the risk and costs and time involved, I think it's pretty fair. But I'm just kind of curious to see what other people think about it. Leave your comments down below about whether or not you offer consignment, whether or not it's something that you do often, or if you would never ever do it. I'm just kind of curious what people's opinions are. And as always, make sure you like the video and please consider subscribing. I look forward to reading your comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.